evening, all. V. Charmaine Roll here, FIE's Junkanoo Rush. Feel it in your belly, folks. It's all about the youth month, the month of October. This is V. Charmaine Roll again with my co-host, Mr. Kevin Paparazzi, and my producer, Miss Brighton Roll. How y'all doing tonight, everybody?
Good night. All is well. My side.
Very good.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Okay, Papa, we can talk a little bit of Junkanoo news first, and then we're going to go ahead with this magnificent youth band that we see here tonight that we have on. I'm so proud to be a Bahamian when I hear the Bahamas All-Star Band, and they just make me proud when they go all over the place, just to show that we is Bahamian. So first off, we're gonna start out with tonight in a little bit of Junkanoo news. Papa, what's what's happening in the Junkanoo world?
All is quiet in the Junkanoo world. Everybody on lockdown, trying to figure out what's next. That's about it. There's nothing from this side in the Junkanoo news. I don't know if you have anything new, but I have nothing on this side.
Well, I still I think nothing quite much is still happening. You see the numbers are still going up. So, we have to adhere, if we want to get back to some sense of normalcy, we have to adhere to what the competent authority has put out there. And definitely Junkanoo is not it, because it seems like crowds and in masses, this is just spreading. And it sounds like it's airborne now. So I don't know. What to say.
I have a correction. There is Junkanoo news. I apologize. This weekend, one family produced a video, and they showcased it yesterday at what is it called, Heroes Day. So that was a nice video on Heroes Day. That's all we have in the Junkanoo world.
Video, I would have liked to see it was more Bahamian national heroes on it, seeing that it was dropped on National Heroes Day. It was a good quality video. It was great to see a lot of them coming together in camaraderie to, the back line, but I just thought it would have been a little bit more national hero added to it. I saw only Marla Butler in it, and I saw more Americans do it, I guess. I don't know if the concept was just for Black Lives Matter, or I figure it being dropped on National Heroes Day was going to be more. But, all in all, it was a pretty good video.
Agreed. It was a very great video, but we still don't know where they're going with it. So it might be a promotional video for something else that we have to do with Black Lives Matter. So I'm just going to sit back and just wait and see where the whole concept comes together.
A little bit about it, I like especially the scene with the river, with the drums beating in the river, and I thought it was somewhat emancipation, talking about freedom, being free. So it's a pretty good video. I watched it. But other than that, I think that's the only thing happening in the Junkanoo world. I don't see any deaths. We have any deaths or anything like that. I see.
Thankfully, there's no no news in the death department. And unfortunately, I'm saying unfortunately, but I mean we come to a custom of naming persons who have passed away from the Junkanoo world that is part of the show. But there's no new deaths this week.
Yeah, because every time you pick up the Guardian each week, the whole death section going into the second section of the Guardian.
Wow.
Well, enough of that talk. Let's get to the people that we have on hand tonight. I thought about the youths in my mind when straight on Yanel Justillion, who is doing an amazing job. Mr. Justillion, how are you tonight, sir? Unmute your mic for us, please. Mr. J, can you go ahead and unmute your mic for us? Can you hear us? So we have with us the Bahamas.
There we go. I got it. Thank you.
So go ahead and tell us about band, and then we're gonna have your members introduce themselves and what particular role that they play in the Bahamas All-Star Youth Band.
For having us. It's a pleasure to be here to represent this part of youth program.
You're a little bit low. Your sound is a little bit low.
Um, it's great to be invited to just highlight this wonderful program. I think it's one of the best in the country. Very proud of the young kids that we work with, and it shows how much talent we have here in the country. So we're looking forward to hearing from them what they have to say and how they feel about the program as time goes along. And while you were mentioning persons, when you talk about persons who have passed, we just this morning, one of our members lost his father, Cedric. Cedric Sayers Jr. sent
Oh, okay.
condolences.
Condolences.
Yeah, and also a very prominent member of the Colors Junction group, Desmona Farrington. She passed this morning as well. She was responsible for cutting all our papers and decorating a fantastic costume.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's been a sad time this time, for us all. And even earlier in the summer, we lost one of our assistant directors, Gerard Lafleur. So we still praying for all those families that God will comfort them in these circumstances.
Okay, now we're gonna ask all of the members here present tonight to introduce themselves and exactly what position that they hold in the Bahamas All-Star Band. Then we're gonna talk a bit more about the band itself. So we're gonna start ladies first tonight, gents. All the ladies introduce themselves. Let's start with Ms. Stovall.
Okay, hi, my name is Leger, and I am the leader for the dance section. And yeah, we just, work together, dance. It's fun. It's really fun. The band on the whole, yeah.
All right. Go ahead, next. Talia.
I'm Talia Syriac. I'm a trombone player as well as I'm one of the persons responsible for the dance routine.
Great. Mr. Ferguson.
Good
Hello,
night.
my,
My name is Kosia King, and
Kosia.
I am the section leader of the Bahamas All Stars Forever Elegant Flagets.
Oh, Miss King, I don't even have you showing up. You have a photo up? We can see your face?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's why I can't see you on my screen. So I apologize for that because I don't see a visual of you. That's why I didn't realize you were there. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, Mr. Ferguson, next.
hello, my name is Herbert Ferguson. I am an assistant section leader for the trombone section.
Okay, Mr. Deans, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Ken Von Dims. I was the former trumpet section leader for 2019-2020 Bahamas All-Star Trumpet Section.
Okay, Mr. Rose.
Good night. I'm one of the 3 drum majors of the
Whoa,
All-Star Band.
whoa, I like that title. I love the drum majors.
Yeah, we're the ones in the front,
Ken on back.
Yes, mom.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Clazer. Pronounce that properly for me.
Oh, good night. My last name is Clarizia.
Okay.
All right, good night, everyone who's on the Facebook Live. My name is, as you know, Eric Clarizia. I'm one of the drum majors, one of the next 3 drum majors, and I'm also a member of the trumpet section.
Okay, great. Mr. King, go ahead.
Good night. My name is David King, and I'm also the saxophone section leader.
All right, okay, well, I thank all of you for coming tonight and coming on to share with us your experience in this Bahamas All Star Youth Band. Now, Mr. Yarnell, Justilian, tell us a little bit about this band, when it was established, and give us a little bit about your people here tonight. Because I excited that I hear drum majors. They be the one with all the drama in the front.
All the drama. But we've been around for from since 2011. Prior to that, it was a program that the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture were doing in 2010. So we got a group of directors together to form a group to attend the Florida Classics. However, that did not work out. We ended up going to the Bethune Cookman University homecoming in 2010, and shortly afterwards, that project was done, and we just thought that we should keep the group together. And officially in 2011, right, the name of the group then was Bahamas United All Stars, and then eventually we organized ourselves in a different way and became the Bahamas officially Bahamas All Stars 2011 in February in the month of February, and from then it just moved from strength to strength. First major trip. The following year, we did make it to the Florida Classics, and from there to Washington, and Washington again, two consecutive years, and we end up uh, the Macy's Parade. Um, we end up in also in Ireland, and we went back to Macy's. We went back to the Florida Classics. So it is a number of things that we did throughout the years that keep the kids motivated and keep the kids in the international eye to show that hey, Bahamas have talent or even more talent than other countries. It's been a great experience for these kids, and they've been getting a lot of attention internationally, especially from the college universities. And we have kids, all over the U.S. at different universities, both music and academic scholarships. These kids are well-rounded, not only with talent, but also the education is on point, and they support each other. It's just an environment of success, and that's the key ingredient that really drives the program, the environment.
Okay, so what does it take to join the Bahamas All Star Band? What all does it take?
But the first thing you have to have the will to work hard, and then you must have the talent, and we do the rest. We do the
So
rest.
you
It
have
doesn't
like
matter.
auditions? Do you have auditions?
Yeah, we have auditions. We listen to you, and we look to see if there's any raw talent in you, and it doesn't take long for us to recognize. You might come in not knowing the fundamentals or the basics in dance or being a flagger or even your musicianship, percussion personnel. But we take it from there. I just train them, take them back to the basics, and then we have a fine number of directors. Like they put a shout out to. We have Kenny, we call him Luke Haley. We have Ricardo McQueen. We have Gail Altamonte, Eliana Burrows Maki, and when you put these folks to work, they always come through. Very they're very experienced in their particular field, and that's what makes my job. So together, when we come together, it's just like magic.
Okay, so I had asked a question about auditions. Do you have a certain time of the year, or if is all of the band members from different schools? How do you recruit persons for the band itself?
Prior to COVID, our normal our biggest recruiting period is normally the month of August. That's just before music camp. But this previous year we tried having the camp July, but our normal camp days we'll invite new persons over just to experience what it's like to be in all stars, and if they want to continue after the camp, we invite them in. And other some persons will come in, will pop in, throughout the season, and if they're really talented and prepared to put in the work and do the catching up game, because we're on the road when you see October hit, we already have our program and we're moving forward. And also at the beginning, not too shortly after every new year, we would look into adding some more folks because we know we have a number of kids who will be moving off to college. So it's always a vacuum that's left. So we have to fill in those gaps.
Okay, before I move any further, are there any persons on the Zoom that I didn't allow to introduce themselves? Because I'm only seeing so many. So are there any persons who didn't get to introduce themselves? They can take the opportunity now to do it. Did I miss anybody?
Good night.
Hi, good night.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
My name is David Moss Jr., former section leader of the Bahamas All-Star Tuba section, otherwise known as the Base, the great PhD Power of Tubas for life.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Moss. That's some bass. I see why you say the great bass section. Some bass in the voice.
Indeed, indeed.
Okay, so you said you start in August and you do your recruiting. Now, one of the things I noticed with your group, because I tried to come out with all of your, when you have the Battle of the Bands and you have your different section, what protocols do you have in place? Because I know with dealing with young persons, you have to have some kind of protocol and line up there for these persons.
Protocol for the situation we're in right now.
Say that again, sir? Oh, no.
I didn't understand your question.
Your code of ethics. What kind of ethics you have to keep the youth in line? Because you know when you're dealing with the youth. Right.
Oh yeah, yes, we do have a code of conduct that we govern by, and every member understand what it is, and I can say that we're not a perfect organization, but there's no major issues that we're facing as of today, because the kids they love the group and they want to be part of the group, and for the most part they follow instructions, they work hard, and they're very well disciplined when it comes to I'm just doing what is right and representing the organization. And I must take my hats off to them. Sometimes you can turn your backs and you know that everything will be well in order. And it also comes to with the guidance of the directors, who really instill a high level of discipline and responsibility in the hands of the kids. And as you can see, most of the leaders are here tonight, and they must live by an example. They must lead by example.
Okay, so let's talk to some of the leaders. I know Ms. Stovall seems to be pretty shy. Tell us exactly what your job is as being a section leader. Which section did you say you lead again?
Dance.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that section, please.
Well, with dance, obviously we don't be with the instrument players. We're in a different section, obviously. So we would practice all of the different dances to the different music that the rest of the band would play, and perform the different small occasions, bigger ones, and that's basically, we just dance a lot.
Okay, yeah. When I say, I'm talking about your dance routine, and I know I've been to one of who, where do you get your choreographed steps and everything for your dance?
Oh, well, we have a main leader, like who first started it off. She would help us with some of the moves, and most of the time we would just put together and make up our own dances, and as we go, and from there it just becomes a dance that we perform.
Now I noticed the Bahamas All-Star Band has just one particular color. Could you speak to that? I notice it's just Bahamian color. Is that the basic color that you always wear, or do you switch your colors up?
Yeah, we mainly wear the blue and yellow and black. That's the main colors, yeah.
Okay, Miss Talia, I think you said you play the trumpet, the saxophone, Talia?
The trombone.
Oh, okay, my bad. Speak to us, being a woman in the trombone section with all those men around you. Tell us a little bit about your experience in that area.
Okay. being a female playing the trombone, it's not that big of a deal to me because it's not like the males in the trombone section would hit on you or something. And the Bahamas All Stars, our group is family based, so it's like they look at you as a little sister basically. Um, but when I first played, I was not that good. But being in the trombone section and being amongst people that were better than me kind of pushed me to be like, okay, I can't be slacking off. Um, as well as being a female, I kind of got a little advantages because some things the males had to do, I didn't have to do since I was a female. It kind of worked for me.
Yeah,
So
because
that's
it's
it.
awesome. Females,
Pardon?
awesome when I see females in areas.
I can't hear you.
I say it's awesome that I normally see. I think your mic is having a little feedback. I say it's awesome when I see females in playing trombone in that area because you don't see too many females. I know I related a little bit towards with Junction, you don't see too many females playing the trombone. So I was excited when you said you were in that area.
The trombone's fun. I'm I've been amongst other female trombone players because I'm also in colors, Junkner group, and it's about 3 or 4 female trombone players, and we have fun.
All right. So let's talk to nowadays. We can leave the drum majors for last. The next section leader. That's sax. That's the Susie, the bass, the man with the bass. Tell us a little bit about your experience being in Bahamas All Star and your role there.
All right, good night again. My experience being a part of the Bahamas All Star Marching Band has been nothing but extraordinary because I came in the band late 2016, if I remember correctly, and my level that I came in was not matching the level that I am at now currently. I developed within the band, and within the year 2018, I was selected section leader of the bass. And at that time, also being a part of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Rangers, I also had a standard of discipline. So me being in that powerful position, my subordinates or my section, we operated on threes. That would be 3 letters, 3 words, and 3 minutes. That would have been DMF, discipline, musicianship, and fitness. For example, if practice was called for 4 o'clock, my section would be there at 2 o'clock, cleaning horns, making sure that they're shiny, going over the music so that when the band come together collectively, we could play along with the band without any trouble or anything like that. We would also uh, exercise, run laps, practice marching, 90 degrees, 90 degrees only, knees up, knees and chest. So like I said, DMF, anybody that came up under me while I was section leader would be able to tell you that. And I've also learned from the previous section leaders, and put everything all in one and created something of my own. But I thank Mr. J and all of the other leaders for allowing me to become a part of that band, opening welcome arms and helping me to become what I am today, because it wasn't what I was when I first joined the band. I've elevated. Thank
So
you.
that's that you've seen yourself progress. Okay, Miss King, tell us a little bit about your role that you play in the Bahamas All Star band.
And then again, as I said, I'm the section leader of the Bahamas All Star Elegant, Forever Elegant, like it. And being there, it was really amazing for me, an amazing experience. I would never regret it at all. Um, at first, I used to attend the Bahamas All Stars performance and watch my brother. He plays the saxophone, perform every now and then. And I was so excited. And I was looking at the flagged section. I was like, okay, I need to join this band. I need to get in. So In January, I think it was 2018, I decided to join. And I didn't have any experience with flagging. I know I was dedicated to learn every single move, every technique there was. So as soon as I touched there, I jumped into the line, I flagged. We learned different routines, figure eights, drills, and it was amazing. They really show this precision, how we must work as one. Teamwork is the number one thing. Teamwork is the number one thing. So as a leader, I've been able to embrace all of those experiences and also teach the flaggets under me. So it's been a wonderful experience and being able to travel and show the world what our flagged section can do as a flag.
Great to hear that. In terms of your costuming for the flagettes, how is that chosen? Do you have a committee that comes together and choose your costuming?
I, along with the assistant director and the director, Miss Gail, we come together and we decide what costumes we're gonna use. They're already ordered, so we basically choose which one we're going to use to perform.
Alrighty, Mr. Deans, tell us a little bit about that section that you're in.
Okay, I've been in the trumpet section from 2015. When I first joined, I must say, like the power from the room was overwhelming because everybody in there I look at was they was there. They was harder than me. They was saying something. So it's like, wow, I gotta get like them when I grow up. And I guess I grow up, and now I can look back, look at my progress, and see where I come from and how far I've been over the years. And the trumpet section, we like a little brotherhood. Like everybody is do their part. Everybody's make sure the team work together. Because if the trumpet section ain't working, then I guess the whole band ain't work. 'Cause when we mess up, everybody got to mess up. I feel like the trumpet section, I don't want to sound boastful. I feel like the trumpet section, we carry in the band, we carry in that lead melody. So if we in set, everybody, fall in line and get in set with us.
One team, one band, one team. Okay, Mr. Says,
Yes, mom.
go ahead, tell us.
Yes, ma'am. Well, my experience at the barn was amazing, I must say, because when I went there, I was the same as everybody else. My level of talent wasn't as at the standard, I must say. After being one-on-one with Mr. J and with all my section leaders, they pushed me and I was able to get up to the standard and beyond that standard even. So I just say like I love everybody in the band. All of us share a great friendship. We get everyone's backs, and that's how it is.
It sounds like some great camaraderie is in this band. All right, all right, drum majors. Let's hear from the drum majors. Eric,
Uh, you gonna go first?
anybody, you can
All
go
right,
right.
all right, all right. Anyway, good night, good night, good night. You asked, how was our experiences in the barn?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your experience in the band and some of the experience you have from traveling and how you get to grow, because a lot of you seem like you have a lot of stories to tell in the band itself.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Well, you don't come in the barn as a drum major, right? You gotta earn the position. So I came in the barn as a fellow trumpet player, and like they say, my skills wasn't up to par with the other barn, and that pushed me to harness the inner musician inside of me and become what I am today. And then I decided to carry my talents elsewhere and help leading the band as a drum major. But my experiences with the band, I must say it was quite life changing. I must say, because when you think of a band, you don't really think of like building a lot of like close family and friendship bonds. You think of like a military. But in this band, I learned to harness my people skills. I learned that I learned how to be selfless. I learned that, I always got to be right at times. But yeah, that's just a part of growing as a person, I feel. And you said about the traveling, right?
Experience in your travels and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I've been in the band since 2017. I've traveled to Washington, D.C. and Orlando, Florida for the Cherry Blossom Parade. And um, the one was mine. Florida Classics, right? I must say the trips, they are really fun. I enjoyed them personally. Yeah, man, that's about it.
Sorry about that feedback. Okay, Mr. King, eh? Mr. King?
My mom, Mr. Claire's here.
Mr. Claire, Eric, go ahead.
That's mom. All right. Um, from I was about 10 years old. Um, I used to go and watch the Bahamas All Stars band perform. I never missed a performance. You could basically say that I was their number one fan. I never missed a performance, and ever since I watched them play, the first time I ever saw them play, I knew I had to be a part of the band one day when I grew up. So fast forward to when I grew up. At first, I wanted to be a member of the drumline section, but then I didn't go as well as I planned it out to be. But then I found a love with the trumpet, so I started to practice that. And then Mr. J, I spoke with him, and he offered me a position in the band to be with the trumpet section. So as we when we first joined, I could say when most of us first joined, we weren't really as we are now in the musicianship skills. So I can say that under the direction of all the leaders, they not only teach us how to become better musicians, but also how to become better citizens in the Bahamas. And wherever we go, we always take that discipline that they gave us and they taught us with us. And I can say that we will never forget the experiences such as the trips, the performances. For the trips, I can say that they really bring us closer together. And the first time I performed in front of a big audience, I would say is the Florida Classics. And what I could say about that, all of us were really scared, because none of us were used to performing in front of large audiences such as that. So the Bahamas All Stars band really like pushes you and takes you out of your comfort zone and puts you to a higher level. And I can really thank all of the directors for that. And to all the little musicians, I can say that this is a great organization. If you're looking for that type of family bond, and I can say this is the perfect organization for you to come to.
All right, excellent. Mr. King, go ahead.
Being in this organization was really a blessing because I could remember when I was only about like 10 years old. I joined All Stars at the very end of 2013, going to 2014. And I remember walking into the bar and I heard them playing the song Happy. I'm happy, that's all. And I was like, wow, these people really sound good. And then I got in the band room and then this nervousness hit me. You could tell people could tell you that I wouldn't even touch my horn, wouldn't even put it to my mouth. That's how scared I was to even try. But I realized how welcoming they were. And people were willing to help me and teach me better myself towards my talent. And then as time progressed, I realized I was helping other people in reading music. And that's where teamwork and leadership.
Great experience. Okay, anybody else on the panel would like to speak to that? Because I could only see certain persons. I guess we got everybody.
My name is Herbert. I'm a trombone player. It's been a lot of hard work in this band, and it's a lot of fun also. When I first came in this band, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was trash. It was hard for me to play, you know. But I gradually got better, you know, because when you first come in the band, it's a lot of people who are way better than you, and that is at first that's be so intimidating when you first see that. But then as you sit down and think of and see it, people they really nice to you and they really treat you well, you know. So and this band really taught me a lot of stuff, helped me build my confidence up, because when you perform in front of a lot of people multiple times, it really builds up your confidence. And you know, I really became better at what I did, what I do.
All right, sounds good. So let me ask all of you, are all of you involved in any aspect of Junkanoo itself? Oh, most of you are. So how do you compare? Before I ask this question, my paparazzi, you
Hey,
there?
hey, I'm
You
right
have,
here.
you have a question before I
Yeah,
ask it?
I wanted to ask Joanna, how does one join the band? How does one become a member of the band?
Well, just it's like, once the kids possess the talent and the will to work, making themselves available and abide by a code of conduct, and just that's all it takes. It's not complicated. It's a very simple process. Once you possess the talent, you want to work, let's go.
Well, do you go online? I think Papa saying, where do you go to join it, or you do you have a page, or do you recruit?
Yes, yes, Bahamas All Stars. We're right on Facebook. You can find a lot of video clips on YouTube. But the thing about it, the great thing about it, maybe we should do more advertisement. But we normally find persons knocking on our doors, looking. They normally find us. You know, so in a way, it makes our job easy. But I normally put notices out on Facebook. I'd even send them out how I'm in education as well. I send personal invitations out to my colleagues here in education and even other community bands. And the kids just come, especially during our summer camp period. They come there and we see what they can do, and then we ask them to come in the program, and it's there that we recruit those persons who have willing heart.
Okay, one of the other questions I wanted to ask in regard to that, is there an age limit to the band?
Yes, the average actually our age is basically from 13 to 18, 13 to
Okay.
18, and sometimes I'll say if we have a strong, say a 12-year old, we'll normally take them in as long as they physically fit to take the type of training, the handle type of training that we go through. And when you get to say after high school, um, you either should be on your way to college or on your way to the job market. And the only persons that we will, if someone really want to stay after that period, they'll have to be a person that can be a form of can join us in a form of leadership or some type of mentoring. But after that point, you must move on to make room for other person. I normally tell the persons 18, 19, do not make it bad here. You know, it's only a stepping stone. This is a youth program, not a young adult program.
Okay. Now, in comparison, Mr. J, with Junkanoo and the marching band in standards of your rules, your ethics, and things, you take that. Do they take that with them into Junkanoo? Because I know with rushing and then being in a band, how do it coincide? Connect with each other.
Um, Duncan was I will use the term beast all by itself, which is very difficult to tame. I would sometimes tell the kids, you sound so great when you're following all the basic instructions and all the proper fundamentals of play. But if when the minute I step out the bottom and turn my back for the kids outside, they will break off with a junk canoe song, and they just blasting their heads off. But, you know, so So it's fun dealing with that. But I always try to tell them, whatever you learn here in Bahamas All Stars, take it to the Junkanoo group, and it would make the sound all the much better. And I can say it's because we're putting a big plug uh, for our program in the Junkanoo group, because I can tell you now, most of the lead players, especially in the brass areas, all of them had an all-star experience. You name the group: Valley Saxons, One Family Roots, Saxons, uh, Popular Congos, Colors, everyone. You'll find all stars in every group here involved, and all of the community bands as well. And even to say that even Urban Renewal, that's doing a wonderful job with the kids there. We have Transformers. We also have members who are now in leadership position in those organizations. Have had their experience also in all stuff. So we're really contributing to the youth environment here in the country. We're very proud of it.
Well, I'm very proud of the Bahamas All Star Band because I've watched you guys a couple times when you travel to the different places representing the Bahamas. And I want to know, when you get on that world stage, how do you feel representing a little small country on a map like this? Like how they say, we said dot on the map. What sense of pride do you have when you go to these other countries to compete? Well, when you represent the Bahamas.
Well, I'll tell you, it's an emotional high, because when you step on that stage, they normally say Bahamians like to show off. When these kids put their best foot forward, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're gonna put their all into what they do. If you look at their performance at the Macy's parade, uh, even when they went to Howard University Battle of the Bands, they went down there and they got first place among 26 American bands. In Ireland, they did an amazing job. I didn't. You're breaking up.
No, I was asking you which particular year that was you guys won that the Battle of the Bands.
I think that was 2013.
Okay.
2013. Actually, we went to that was our second trip to Washington. The 2015, we were down 15. No, just that was 70. We went back again for the Rose Bowl, for the Cherry Blossom Parade. Sorry. And also the Ireland trip. That was a fantastic trip. You talk about miles and miles away from home. That was quite an experience for our kids. Driving, touring on the hillside and looking all of the mountainous terrains there, and just seeing the herds of sheep, white wool sheep. It's just it was just wonderful, and the folks there really enjoyed the kids, and they wanted them to come back.
Okay, so when you go aboard and represent the Bahamas, because from us being representation in the Olympic and winning the Olympics and all this stuff, to travel around the world and to know that we come from a small country like this, bringing along with youths in the line of discipline, because that's one of the things I always talk about in the back line of Junkanoo. We can't really rush like a marching band, but if we have some of the ethics that the marching band has when it comes to the back line of Junkanoo, I think would be a bit different. How do you feel about that?
Well, the discipline is there. Like I said, we were in a position where we can almost say turn our backs on the kids. The kids will always be kids. They try little things, but we have so much eyes on them because we are solely responsible. We have to be that second parent. Um, it's a lot of responsibility on us. We have to make sure that child return back to the Bahamas and back to their parent, just like we found them, or even a better person. So it's a lot lying on us. Even with this pandemic that's taking place right now, the kids, they're eager to get back to practice, but their health come first. I'm always thinking about what if one out of the 100 one of 100 members would have picked up this virus during one of our rehearsals. That will really dampen our program and dampen our heart. So we have to think on all of these things. It's a big responsibility when you have to take on the responsibility of guiding young people, from different areas of, of life here in Bahamas.
Another question I have to ask. I know a lot of people, when I talk to musicians, they talk about reading music and writing music. The band itself, do you have somebody who particularly writes your music? And then they have a lot of people that just play by ear. How does that work with the Bahamas All Star Band?
Well, all the music that we play is written.
Okay.
So therefore, the reading fundamentals that will be placed in the hands of the kids through our training, and that is what is needed. See, our focus is not only it's not our program not performance driven. Our main focus is try to get as much as we can of these kids to prepare them to bring them up to the standard to apply for music scholarship. And when you go to do a music scholarship, they will ask you to play your scales, if you're a percussionist, your rudiments. They will give you a sight reading piece to perform, and they will listen to your a prepared solo, and that will determine how many dollars they're going to invest in you. So the reading part of it is mandatory. It's always a work in progress, and these kids understand that, and that's one thing we're building this program on. And I think the advantage that we have too, we have so many kids out there that's in universities and some who's back already in the classroom. So that's one of the biggest reward we can see. When I look at Essie McPherson, that's one of our members there who's now being educated there. You go to LW Young, two of them right there. You go to uh, uh, Doris Johnson, one is there. One is in Bimini Police Force Band, Defense Force Band. Many of them even in the prison band. Uh, you could find these kids everywhere, and it's all because of them taking their time to learn the fundamentals, and now they are in leadership doing the very same thing. When I look at the musicianship of the Jungle group, there's improvement there because of that. Uh, they understand that so, some things that we sometimes we don't understand when we talk about balance, tonal quality, all of that is changing because of education, music education. And that's why I say hats off to those kids who's making a difference and coming back and giving back.
So you can therefore say that the All Star Band is a stepping stone in helping a lot of young persons get into college.
Yes, not only college, so even a job market itself.
Okay.
Once you would have developed that discipline, you could go in any job place and represent yourself well, because you would remember all of those good things, all those proper training, good manners, good etiquette that you learn right there, just being among persons who, even the parents involved, sometimes they come in and they encourage the kids. There's a parent associate, there's a parent chat group, and I don't believe that any program could be successful without parents. And that's one of the I'd say one of the major pieces that we have here. I trust me, when you see us perform, we have parents here who chaperoning with us. They travel with us. They organize some social events for us. Even when we put on a big production like the Battle of the Bands, or what have you, the parents are the ones who take the lead in those events. And if I start calling names, I'll get myself in trouble. So, but hats off to all the parents. We love you all. Keep up
Right. Another question I have for you, Mr. J. In terms of practicing, does each section have an individual time to practice and then you come together as one? How does that work?
Yes, every section. If you were to come to a regular practice, you will find the horn sections. They'll be in the band room. The flaggers will be in the corner of Government High School by themselves. Dancers, they'll be on another corner, drum line on the field. And apart from that, there are times we'll break out into smaller sections like the trumpet sections and what have you. And sometimes they have the liberty also of calling their own section practice. Sometimes I see some improvements, some individual contests, and I may not even know when they had time to work on that. So it shows you that they have that drive to just be responsible into having that pride section, and they bring that section pride to the organization.
One of the things I noticed, like you say, it's more like a whole family. I noticed that's how the Bahamas All Star band operates, more like a family environment.
Oh yeah. Sometimes it's difficult to get the kids out of the school. We practice there. When if we get out practice say 6 o'clock, some of the kids hanging around till 7:30, 8 o'clock. We have to. Sometimes I wonder if they're lying to their parents, telling the parents that practice ends 7 and 8 o'clock because they're still there hanging around each other and just enjoying each other's company.
All right. In terms of your travels, do you have sponsors or how do you get to make all of your trips and stuff?
Sponsorship is very difficult to come by. We just came out of a recession several years ago. Ever since then, it's always an excuse from business places saying that we love what you're doing, we like to help you, but because of the recession, there's not much we can do at this time. So most of our activities really been on at fundraising activities, and our biggest event is actually our fifth quarter battle of the band. If we have a trip that costs say $1,000 per child, we'll try our hardest probably to bring it down under around $6,500, make it somehow affordable for these kids. And on top of that, we'll have sometimes we do special letters. If the company cannot afford to make a big donation to the band, the kids themselves, they'll take it upon themselves, carry those letters to particular companies. Say, can you sponsor me? Those forms of
When you travel, how many persons really is in the band itself?
the average size of the band is normally it could range anywhere from 110 to 130 throughout the years. So it's been consistent. If we lose, when I say lose, if we would have say 20 to 30 persons move off to university or job market, we'll have another 30 or 40 come and replace them. So the band is always growing. When we first started, it was probably around 70, 80 kids. At one time, we were almost up to 150 kids.
Wow.
So that's it's consistent that we've been able to maintain the size of the band throughout the years, and that's a sign of growth because kids are going off to college, and the group is still growing, and still it's just like graduating from high school and then a new set of rookies or freshmen coming in.
Okay, now I didn't notice anybody from here talking about the drum line tonight. We didn't have anybody from the drum line area tonight. We didn't have anybody. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think the drumline is represented. Some persons canceled.
Right. Hey, and that's a hot area because every time I drum line, I think about the movie drum line, and I like All Stars. Most of the times I watch you guys. I came down here on Glaston Road to the hall, and for the people and the anticipation that is there, and you have so many. My nephew actually plays in St. Ambrose drum. I mean, band, and he is a drum major. He is a drum major. So I get excited and I try to come out to all of the different events that you guys have, and the anticipation from the crowd and stuff is just like it's Junkanoo. It's just not a bunch of persons all together one time. You just have more, I should say, discipline in terms of marching in a line and making sure you know your notes and all of that.
When you talk about discipline, that drum line, that's a serious, almost you might say, fraternity to get in, and that's hats off the Luke Haley, better known as Kenny. He does a wonderful job. He's the assistant director of that. He should have been on the set tonight. I don't know what happened.
And now that we talk about that too, Mr. J, I wanted to say condolences because you lost one of your. I think he was the director.
Yeah, he's one of my assistants. That's Gerard Leclerc. He was in
right.
charge of the lower brass, sousaphone, particularly the sousaphone section.
The last time I saw him was about, I think, 2 years ago when you had the Armenian talk, and I was saddened to learn of his passing, and I didn't get to attend the funeral and everything, but I would like to say condolences to you guys. And I know you miss him a whole lot because he seems to be a very dedicated. You can talk a bit about that for me, please.
Well, you talk about the kids. You hear the kids talking about how it is family oriented. I can tell you one thing. You can't get between the directors in Bahamas all stuff. We're like brothers and sisters. You know, we bond together, we travel together, we go together, we do a lot of things together. We're on the same page. And like I said, it makes my job easy as a director. When I don't have to work with anything, I'll just give out instructions. I want to bring out a piece of music. I said, this is the mood, this is the feel, this is what we're doing, and everyone will just bring their presentation around the table. When we put it together, it's a spectacular show. If you would look at any of the shows that we did in the Florida Classics, the show that we did at Macy's, it's not one person, it's everyone coming together, and even the youngsters. Let Leah talk about see the dance. We have the dance group, but there are times you have the whole group doing a dance choreograph routine, and that the membership themselves, they have their committee, they come together and they do that. So when you come with leadership, you must give these kids room to create. Give them a lot of room to create, and that's what they've been doing. They come together with the idea, and I let Talia, where are you? You can speak to what it takes for you all to come up with a dance routine.
Go ahead, Talia.
Talia, you there?
Go ahead, Talia.
I didn't have the question.
Yeah, what does it take for you to come up with a dance routine? All of the fantastic dance routine we did over the years.
Well, coming up with the dance routines, it's a dance committee, and it's based on people from the different sections. We come together, we'll have meetings during practice while the band members practicing the songs. We get the song list, and then we come together and we decide we want to use this chunk of the song or this section of the song, and then we'll choreograph it. And we teach the band it. If they don't get that dance, then we change it and we make a few adjustments. But it's not that hard. It's pretty
So the fly gets
kind
have
of fun. Pardon?
fly gets have a totally different routine. Dance. It's a totally different dance section from the regular. Would you call it the fabulous? Would you call it Miss King? Would you call your section?
Forever elegant like it.
Okay, so forever elegant fly. Yes. How did you come up with that name, Forever Elegant Fly?
I came into the band with that. I learned that the Fly Gets Out was their title. So I didn't come up with that name. I came into the band learning that was their name.
Oh, okay, because I say that to say how when I watch them perform, they do it in such elegance in terms of being on a runway until they start with those flights. And that's I asked about that elegant because I can see them in my mind doing their routine now, how they come in like they're modeling with the flies and then broke into their routines. I see we have Mr. Kenny just joined us. Introduce yourself for us, please.
Good night, all. I'm Kenny Luke Cayley, Sr. I'm the assistant director of this prestigious organization. I'm mainly of the line I talked about earlier.
Say that I didn't catch that.
I am in charge of the drum line that you asked about earlier.
Okay, so can you speak to a little bit to that particular line for us?
The hardest working section in the band.
Somebody else saying they
don't mind them. Don't mind them. They only don't mind them.
Trouble is here.
Don't mind them. They're just talking, but I reach now. It's okay.
He reached sound like John Canoe.
I like that kind of talk. So Mr. Can you tell us a little bit about the drum line? Because I asked about them earlier. What exactly the role that they play in this
The most
magnificent
important part is the heartbeat of the band.
beat.
Yeah.
Biggity fellas.
And how many normally is normally how many drummers you have across?
We only we have we have a total of 25 pieces. So we only we may go up to 30. It depends on instrumentation. Depends on the people, but that's the max we'll go with the drum line. 25 to 30. So we have what 6 to 8 snares, 4 tenor drums, 5 bass drums, and cymbals. We have something called quads or quints or triplets. That's what we use in the drum line.
And I do think, like you say, the drum line seems to be the heartbeat of the band itself. Because normally, when you guys you normally do a section where you just have the drum lines performing. Is that correct? Or
Yes. We have a feature. Every year we put a feature together. Some pieces I get from my colleagues in the United States who are working at universities, and we'll send down the music to me, and we'll teach the parts, and then we'll put it together and put on a show and come up with different ideas to put sticking. It could be some dancing, it could be some drum moves or whatever have you, and we put it all together.
okay, all right. Thanks for opening because I was asking, that drum line. That's an important beat, and that's the like you say, that's the heartbeat, the soul of the.
I just got one question to ask all of them. Where does the drum line sit when we line up for parade? See all them laughing, right?
To the wall, to the wall, to the wall.
Where's the drum line in the middle of parade formation, guys? I'm listening.
They in the middle?
In the middle, the heartbeat.
Right. That's
Please
why.
play.
Uh,
I know.
hey, Kenny,
Hey,
we,
what's up,
we had
Jay?
this we had this discussion in Junkanoo, I guess about a couple of about a month ago or so, with me and Fred Perks. I did mention how the percussion is in the middle of the group to keep everything in sync. Because if we
Exactly.
were to take, say, our 30-piece drum section and put it behind the marching band, it would be a lag all going all the way to the front. See,
The
that's
tempo will be different.
very. Thank you. And I'm trying to get them to understand that the laws of acoustic, you cannot change that. That's just what it is.
Can't.
And even when they take what they call the so-called concalatas, they put them in front of the brass. See,
Percussion instrument.
if you separate any form of percussion instrument, it's going to be a problem. And every these youngsters who went off to school and the college bands and with the major groups, that's bursting with beyond the scene with numbers. They should understand that and try to make those changes. Education is going to make our product much better once we begin to accept certain things. We cannot continue to go by, I hate to say it, lack of knowledge in many areas, and we're not listening. We're stubborn, and we want to stick with tradition as if that is the only way in life. But I'm glad you're here to back me up on that one. And if I'm hated for saying that, hey brother,
Yeah.
you're gonna be hated along with me.
It is what it is. I mean, the rhythm it's important. I don't know how they can fix it in Junkanoo, but they can. It's worth a try. And nothing beats a failure than a try. So, and then nothing beat.
Um, so in Junkanoo, you're saying to put the bass, sorry, the back line in the middle. That's what you're saying.
There's nothing beats a failure than a try. That's what I'm saying.
Put them together. They have you can't separate them. And even the balance when you were to say take all of the bass drum, uh, if you were to have say 20, 30 bass drums and you have all of them together, and then and they are not filtered, they are not surrounded, they are not supported by toms in between. I know some groups are doing that, but it has to be even more so we can have more rhythm. If you have more rhythms around your bass, they will
Right.
play more in time. See,
Oh,
they're feeding off each other, and if you have bellas all the way in the front of them, way ahead. And another thing that they do, I'm sure Kenny is not going to take a few snare drum players in the front and put some more snare drums in the back of the bass drum. You know, they have to be feeding off something. That's why I said it's good to if you could have that line of say bellas along the side. Everyone must feed off somebody to keep everything what we call the term in music interlock. See, it's a lot of phrases that we can use. So we use lock, or that was, you know, we use a lot of terms that we make up in Duncan. We've been the kunkalaka. Kenny is a percussion man. Was that invented by Duncan Lewis? No, it wasn't.
No,
And
it was.
some guys, when we say that, they get offended as if we're trying to take the glory away from them. That's a marching band instrument. It's the harness that we put percussion, that we mount percussion pieces on.
The percussion instruments that put together and call it kunkalakas. And I still the persons who came to the drumline, they often know when I hear them talk about they won't say kunkalakas to me, they'll say percussion instruments because they know how I feel about it. No offense to anyone. I am gonna take it.
I noticed, Mr. J, in the back line now, even well, I know a few years ago they used to have bellas lined on the side of the drummers, but they look like they switch it up more now, where the bellas are now more three rows of bellas, and then just drummers, and then you have tom toms mixed in between the drummers.
Yeah, it all depends on the size of the group. And again, what was the biggest challenge too? The fellas, they carry big costumes, large costumes, and it's difficult to put a large bella costume along the side. Now I know a lot of the group, they will have the smaller costume on the side, or persons who are not in costume at all along the side. But and that's only a few. But once as long as they understand how they can get a better and tighter sound, it would always be a challenge. But it's worth a try to keep the rhythm as tight as possible. And don't be afraid to make changes. Don't be afraid to make changes.
Right, very interesting, very interesting. I like how you put that in there. Okay, folks, so it's been a very interesting conversation. What shall we expect from the marching band, and after this COVID situation, if we get through this, what should we expect from you guys?
Well, from the eagerness, the kids, we've been away from each other for I mean physically, that is, for 7 months, and trust me, they're anxious to play, and I can imagine what they'll be like, say, when they get together in one room, and when they say crank it up, although they'll be out of shape, trust me, it'll be like almost taming a wild horse for the first time. I know the kids miss each other. We miss them, and we're looking forward to getting over this hump. But I just want them to know that their safety come first, and we just wait to see what the norm is when school is fully reopened, to see what the tendencies are. That's what we basically getting our cues from. But we will
Yeah.
do what we can to keep them together through social media, and encourage them to keep practicing and keep those grades up, because the colleges, they're still looking for young folks out there, and we want the parents to understand that, keep them uh, exercising at home. Don't just stay home indoors. Walk around jog around jog around them. Some of you got parks in your neighborhoods. Stay out, exercise. Trust me, we gotta stay fit and
So
stay
the
on
only,
those instruments.
the only advantage that Junkanoo have over to be able to do anything right now, because you know the protocol is 30 persons, and 30 persons can make up the fly gets or the dancers in your group.
The drum line, but
The drum line,
The drum
right?
too. Oh, and the trumpet section. The trumpet section, we have about 20 something trumpets.
Right, right, right. And youths, it's been a great discussion tonight. It was great to find out a lot of information. You were very informative, Mr. Justillion and Mr. Kenny. Even though you came in at the end, I'm glad you came in to tell us a little bit about the drum line.
I was here for a while. I just didn't say anything.
Oh, I was asking if anybody is here who I didn't. The problem is with Zoom, if you can't really, if you don't show your face, if you have so many persons, you don't get to see who all is on it all at once.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
got to change your view to switch to speaker active view or switch to
right, right, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would put somebody else on back in the limelight. Sometimes I feel sorry for this particular section. Kenny said the drum line is probably the hardest working section in the group. But if you were to ever come and watch the dance section, what those girls go through, sometimes I wonder if you see any one of our young ladies survive that dance section. Trust me, they have the discipline what it takes to be successful anywhere in life.
Right.
We have persons even quit at times because they can't take the pressure from the hard work, the instructions, the discipline level, how they walk, how they talk, how they sit. Everything is choreographed.
It
They want
everything is in preparation for getting the kids ready to go off to school through a music program. When you go off the school in the States, they don't, there's no, oh, the rain could come down. As long as it ain't lightning, they still gonna have practice. They could be
yep.
flooding outside and they still gonna have practice. So you have to prepare them mentally because what they do in the States, we don't do here. Musician discipline level is completely different here than it is in the States. You know, so
So
I went to,
let's say just give them an idea what a practice, what have your real practice experience has been like. Those days you felt like quitting, you Miss Ellie or Miss Gail shouting and screaming at you. What is
Okay.
it like? You tell the dance
Well,
floor.
first of all, when you come to practice, if you come late to practice, first of all, you have about 4 to 8 laps around the square to do. You're gonna do it until you're tired, even after you're tired, for sure. So once that is finished, we have to come inside and stretch and go across the floor, do a lot of push-ups, workout exercises. Doesn't matter how tired you are, you're gonna push through it. If you stop, you get more laps. No matter how you feel, how tired you get. When it comes to practicing our dances, we practice over and over and over. Again, like I said, no matter how tired you are, you have to practice. We have to get it done until it's perfect, or as close to perfect as we could get. And if you if you choose to not do a dance, you have more laps, more laps until like, if we don't do it right, of course we get riled until we do it right. But it's a lot, but through it all, we still have fun. It's a lot of fun. Like we said, we have a bond. We built a bond, and yeah, it's a lot of work. You have to be very determined. You have to be committed to it. But like I said, it's fun. It's really fun.
discipline.
Yeah. This one thing for sure. I'm sure all of All Stars members could agree with me when I say that Bahamas All Stars band director instilled discipline in us for sure. They do an amazing job keeping us in line, and I appreciate that because it could get us so far in the music dance industry.
Well, like we always say, you're only as good as your teacher. So if you have good directors and persons that are in charge, you would always be an all-star. You'll always be top of your game.
Yes, Sam.
You only want to sure that what you put out there is always your best. And any teacher would always love to see their student. They know they have done their job when they can see their student, sorry, is actually thriving and going further than they did themselves.
And the leadership training in itself is another aspect of what the program does. It create leaders, and
Right.
also like a lot of them introduce themselves as section leaders in different sections. And I see in the background they have Andre Roll, who was our band captain. I'd like to have a speak about what his leadership skills escalate to a rating as band captain. Andre.
Andre? Yeah, Andre just reached. Andre, go ahead, introduce yourself for us, please.
Good night. My name is Andrew, band captain. I used to be a part of the trumpet section. Now I'm with the mellophone section. Um, The bond is really great. Teaches you discipline, as they said, helps you achieve that level where you need to be. Show people that or we don't just get the best. We don't just try to be the best. We try to be perfect at whatever we do. You try to beat everybody else. Try make yourself a wonderful individual.
So you saying how the stepping stone also for preparing the youngsters for their adulthood.
Can you say that again?
I said
Yes.
Oktober seems to be preparing a lot of the youngsters that they mentor for adulthood, also going into from going like Mr. J said, from going into college on to getting major jobs. And they're
Yeah. A lot of us actually, before this quarantine, a lot of us actually receive scholarships from places like CSU, Central State University, and yeah, Bethune Cookman University, and Edward Waters College. And some of us are actually, well, the alumni are actually either going on for their master's degree or they actually work in good jobs.
you and Mr. Kenny for
Yeah.
an effort that you have put forward to making sure that the youths of the Bahamas are recognized in such high esteem, and you're doing such a wonderful job, preparing them for the world after school. So, in this youth month here, I was glad to have you guys to come on and to speak to that. So I thank you once again. Is there any last word you want to say before we sign up for the night?
Um, I would like to everyone to just keep pushing, keep practicing. If you have a goal in mind, have a dream in mind, don't give up on it. Through music, because like one of the kids said earlier, we have kids all throughout the United States who have been through this program on music scholarships now. Through this program, they are some of them like Andrew said a minute ago. Some of them are now working on their master's degrees. Some of them are now in their profession as doctors and so forth and so forth within the United States and here in the Bahamas. So music, you don't have to actually study music when you go off to school. You can on a music scholarship, you can study whatever, but just getting there. Once you get there, um, everything else will fall in place and maintain your grades.
And just to add to that, I just want the Bahamas to know that we are now exporting music educators. Uh, we have, I could think of 4 music educators right now who came through this program, and even from government high, who are now teaching music in the high school system in the United States. And that's also a big accomplishment within itself. We have persons like candidates working on their masters, and persons who are doing some majoring in some other areas that we won't even think of, like music therapy and engineering and different things that's other than just teaching music. So I think we need to continue to encourage these kids and show them what areas or professions that they can go into other than just teaching or performing. There's so many different areas in the field of music. Persons who don't want to be instruments, want to play in orchestras and blah. But I would encourage parents at this time. Schools are virtually being operated. Instruments are not a lot of educators are not really putting out the instruments out there in kids' hands because they're home, and that's going to be a major issue. And if you can, parents, if you can purchase that instrument for your child, if it's affordable at this time, I think that's the most rewarding thing you can do for your child. Keep that develop and do it. Look at smaller instruments like the trumpets, clarinets, and flutes, the saxophone. Get those trumpets in those cases. It's a great investment. There's nothing greater than investing in your child. If your child been sitting for 7 whole months and not doing anything, uh, unless if it's a situation where you can't afford, we understand that. But if you can, save that child by putting an instrument in there. Trust me, it's that investment will pay off.
All right, paparazzi, do you have any closing comments you want to say before we go?
I just want to congratulate everybody on a job well done. It's very impressive to see so many young people doing so well. Obviously, the program is progressing, and it's contributing not only to the community but also to the Jonquil community. And we thank you all for your contribution, especially you, Mr. Justillian. We appreciate you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, you youths, like we say, for always being the face of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. You travel from a country that they see as a dot on a map, but you come there with excellent skills and excellent abilities and perform to the best standards ever. I am so proud when I hear of the Bahamas National All-Star Band. When I hear that and I hear you guys. So we at Rock wish all of you a good, safe youth month because first. So we don't have too many things going on right now because we all have to be safe. But we thank you again tonight, Mr. Justillian and Mr. Cayley, for taking time out and the conversations that we had. I learned a lot tonight from all of you in terms of what you do. Because a lot of people just see you out there performing and they don't really know what it takes to get that performance that you all are. Every I would have figured you 20 50 persons that you have to get prepared every time you perform. So I give you kudos for that.
Man, I have one quick question for Mr. Stillion. I always have this last minute questions. What is the ideal age to get a child into music? I mean, what's the best age, I should say? That's a terrible question, but I think you get what I'm trying to follow. I mean, follow what I'm trying to say.
No, that's a great question that needs to be asked over and over again, and every parent needs to understand. When you take a little child, even from 1 to 2, 3 years old, they are the times that those neurons begin to connect, and see that's when we really form real talent. If you look at those Oriental countries, that's what they do. If you put a child in a musical environment from early childhood, that's going to become part of it. They can't escape that. If you put them in the swimming pool, they're going to become a fish. So trust me, the earlier we start, the much better. We could start off with a very small instrument, even if it's a toy. Expose them to listening to whatever style of music you want. And see, that's why we have problems today. But we say that, well, the kids don't. We assume that they don't like Bahamian music because which child really listens to Bahamian music at the age 2, 3, and 4? We have them listening to other things. So what is theirs is in a way become foreign to them. And when we want them to appreciate it at an older age, and we accuse them of not liking Bahamian music, but they come to appreciate it. Even in All Stars, they love the Bahamian stuff. In Jonquil, we love Bahamian music because we introducing it to them at a much later stage. But whatever we want our kids to adapt to, the earlier the better. The earlier better. I'll say as long as they can pick up an instrument, put it in their hand.
Can I elaborate too, Jay? I would say, like Jay said earlier, just like when you teach your child how to play a sport at a young age, but maybe we want to start run track at like 4 or 5, around the same age. That's when they are more accepting, like Jay said, music, a different style of music. And I have my son now who's like 2. I have him listening to music when we go to sleep. So
example, I don't know if anyone knows the name Gibson Jelly. He just listened to jazz from a very early age, and look where he is now. He's Robin Nicholas with Wynton Marsalis. He has his recording out, up for awards. The sky's the limit. See, we're starting our kids too late in every area in this country. We're not equipped in the primary school. Put these kids, growing these kids up in the right environment. We don't want to spend the money. Performing arts is very you might say expensive. Yes, it's expensive. When you talk about if you want to buy a brand new 20K Sousa phone, that's $8,000 easy. But guess what? If we have those things in place, you know how much kids we can save? You know how much kids we can put on the world map, professionals around the world. Like I said,
Not even.
kids. Thank you.
Not only that, Jay, you got to realize too that we have, if you believe it or not, people think track and basketball and all of that stuff. Scholarships, more music scholarships are given to musicians than it is an athlete. You know.
Yes, and I want to know, we have the Bahamas Salsa. The persons who came to Bahamas Salsa who went up to school is probably around the range of 200 to date, from 2011 to today. Over 200 kids. Think about it. That's amazing. I don't know what other program can say that, but we don't look for attention. We don't, persons aware. Everyone is aware of what's taking place in this organization. Government, the different branch, education, the youth department, and I might say youth department, Ministry of Youth. They've been supporting us throughout the years, and I must say hats off to them as well. We appreciate their contribution as well to yearly grant.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you again for coming out. Thank my co-host, Mr. Kevin Paparazzi, and my producer, Mr. Brighton Roll. All right, we ask all of you to please be safe because you see our numbers are going up. So please wear your mask, safe distance yourself, and make sure sanitize your hands because I would like to see this marching band again with all of you in one place.
We're on standby.
All righty. So everybody have a good evening and be safe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.